My 5-year-old son and I were trapped in a hotel fire. My wife, Jessica, a firefighter who got the call, didn't come for us. Instead, she was busy rescuing her first love, Mark, and his son in the room next door. Right before he died, my son asked me, "Mommy is a hero. She saved so many people. Why wouldn't she save us?" I couldn't answer him. Later, at his funeral, I called Jessica. She snapped, "Mark and his son have burns. They're in the hospital. Can you stop being ridiculously jealous at a time like this?" Then she hung up, sitting in my wheelchair, looking at my son Leo's tombstone and the extensive burns covering my body. I knew our marriage was truly over. Leo. By the time my son and I realized there was a fire, it was already raging. Our only option was to hide in the room. My wife, Jessica, was a firefighter, and she was leading the rescue team that day. When Leo and I saw her from the window upstairs, we thought our savior had arrived. When we left for our trip, I had texted her the hotel address and our room number. But when Jessica came upstairs, she bypassed our room and went straight for Mark and his son next door. My son couldn't hold back his tears any longer. "Daddy, Mr. Mock and Sam, they're here too. Mommy only cares about them. Is she not going to help us again?" Daddy, it hurts so much. The room was thick with smoke. He was only 5. He was barely holding on. I frantically grabbed a wet towel, covered his mouth and nose, and carried him to the door. "Jessica, please, just this once." Couldn't she look back at us? I screamed her name, my voice raw, but she didn't even pause. Through the roaring flames, I only heard her gently comforting Mark. "Don't be afraid. I'm here. You and the boy will be okay." Belatedly, I tried to cover my son's ears, but it was too late. Tears filled his eyes, his pupils already starting to dilate. "Mommy! Why does Mommy always not notice me?" I yelled really loud. "Cough! Cough! Daddy, I'm sorry. Next time, Daddy get Mommy." "Okay." After Leo spoke his last words, his hand fell limp. My mind went blank, buzzing. Only a sharp pain hammered into my chest again and again until I thought I couldn't bear it. I struggled to my feet, clutching his small body tightly. The sting in my eyes was overwhelming. "Okay, Daddy." "Leo, don't sleep a little longer." "Okay, Daddy will get you out right now." Black smoke billowed so thick I couldn't even see Leo's face. The floor was scorching, the door searing hot. Flames licked at my body, engulfing both me and Leo in my arms. How much pain must my child be in? Sobbing, I tried to beat out the flames on him, but they wouldn't extinguish. The smoke was too thick, the fire too fierce. I couldn't walk, so I crawled. The hallway seemed endless. Finally, other firefighters doing a final sweep found us and took us to the hospital. Jessica was in the next room with Mark and his son. But just like in the fire, separated by only a wall, she never noticed Leo and me, her attention completely fixed on her first love and his child. Doctors tried to pull me away to treat my extensive burns. I refused, kneeling on the floor, begging them again and again to save my son. "He's just exhausted. He fell asleep temporarily. Please save him." The doctor sighed and took Leo into the emergency room. The defibrillator charged again and again, but that small body never opened its eyes again. He said, "The child suffered greatly in the fire while alive. Don't torture his body further after death." Yes, my Leo was so afraid of pain, and I had severe burns all over my body. I asked my brother to handle Leo's funeral arrangements and the divorce proceedings with Jessica. I had drawn up the divorce papers the day I was injured and signed them. But Jessica's phone was unreachable, just like on the day of the fire. It slowly dawned on me. She had blocked me again. Every time Jessica was with Mark and his son and found my calls annoying, she blocked me. When she was in a better mood, she'd unblock me. I had endured this for 6 long years. But at this moment, I suddenly felt an overwhelming exhaustion and weariness. My brother went to the funeral home to arrange Leo's service, leaving only a caregiver with me. I had the caregiver lift me into the wheelchair, and I wheeled myself next door to find Jessica. I couldn't stand another second of this ridiculous marriage. The room next door was also a private room. My family is wealthy, and my monthly salary is substantial, money that Jessica managed. Otherwise, with her salary, how could she afford a luxurious private room for Mark and his son. That pair came out of the fire with just some soot on their faces and a few scattered blisters. Yet Jessica acted like they were gravely injured, her concern overwhelming. I thought again of Leo's unrecognizable little body, and the pain in my chest felt like it was suffocating me. Indeed, the difference between being loved and not being loved was vast. Jessica. I ground out her name. Jessica turned to look at me, her smile vanishing, her brow immediately furrowing. "Ian, who let you in here? Get out." I wore a hat and mask to hide my injuries, afraid of frightening people. But I was in a hospital gown, sitting in a wheelchair. Anyone could see I was unwell and hospitalized. Jessica, however, was blind to it. Afraid I would disturb Mark and his son's rest, she stood up and pushed me out, not forgetting to warn me. "Mark and I are just friends. How many times do I have to explain? He doesn't have a wife, no other family. He's pitiful enough. Do you have to be so petty making a scene over this every time?" I had heard these lectures so many times my ears were calloused. Mark didn't have a wife, but he had Jessica to take care of him. I had a wife, but it was like having no wife at all. When Leo was a baby and crying for milk, Jessica was at Mark's house making baby food for his son, telling me not to bother her with everything. Eventually, a female neighbor helped. When I had a car accident and called Jessica, she was helping Mark pick out clothes and told me not to cause trouble. When Leo had a high fever and seizure in the middle of the night, she had to stay with Mark's son, who was scared after watching a horror movie, telling me not to be jealous and stir up drama. Incidents like these were countless. Now, seeing Jessica's self-righteous expression, my stomach churned. I didn't want to waste another word on her. "Sign the divorce papers, and I'll leave. Ivantes took your little family off." I handed her the divorce agreement. Jessica, assuming I was just acting out again, didn't take it, only saying impatiently, "Will you ever stop? As soon as Mark and Sam are better, I'll come home." She always made promises like that. But this time, I felt not even a flicker of hope. "If you don't sign, I'll have my lawyer file suit. Also, Leo's funeral is in 6 days." "You might. I'm coming," Jessica responded with tension and concern, not asking a single question about Leo's funeral before going back inside. I stared at the closed door, my chest feeling like it was pierced by 1,000 knives. I don't even know how I got back to my room. I just remember my chest feeling so tight, I could hardly breathe. Right up until the day of the funeral, Jessica had never asked a single thing about Leo. Even as the funeral was about to begin, she, the mother, hadn't arrived. The arriving guests murmured amongst themselves. "Why isn't the child's mother here yet? I heard she's at the hospital with a father and son. The man is her ex-boyfriend, but she can't just skip her own son's funeral. That's outrageous. It's her own flesh and blood." Everyone looked at me with pity. Some, fearing I was too grief-stricken, came over to comfort me, thinking of how Leo always desperately wished his mother would spend time with him. My throat felt like it was full of thorns. I clenched my fists tightly, my nails digging into the blisters on my palm. The pain helped me barely suppress the rage boiling inside me. This was my child's farewell to the world. I couldn't mess it up. I told my brother, "Call Jessica for me." She blocked my number. My brother's face was grim as he called Jessica. The call connected quickly. "Jessica, today is Leo's. Are you serious? Mark and his son were injured in the fire. They got infections and are hospitalized. Taking care of them is the right thing to do. My conscience is clear. Can you stop being so dirty-minded that you see filth everywhere?" Jessica sounded even angrier than I was, hanging up immediately after finishing. No wonder she had no reaction when I told her Leo died that day. She thought I was just being unreasonable. I had been accused by her many times. But this time, I trembled with anger, unable to even speak. Her shout was loud. My brother, standing next to me, heard it too. He snatched the phone, sent Jessica a photo of Leo's death certificate, and called her back, each word seemingly forced from his throat. "Jessica, did you see it clearly? Leo's been gone for a week, and you, his own mother, haven't shown your face once. Are you even fucking human?" My brother spoke gravely enough that anyone not completely delusional would know Leo's funeral wasn't a joke. I thought that knowing the truth, Jessica would apologize, regret, feel guilty. But in reality, she said nothing and hung up. She didn't show up. Even by the end of the funeral, I forced myself to hold it together through the entire service. I don't remember who came or what they said when they tried to comfort me. I only know I sat in my wheelchair looking at Leo's smiling face on the tombstone, his tortured voice echoing in my ears. Daddy, it hurts so much. Daddy, didn't Mommy remember we were staying in this room? Then why did she remember Mr. Mark and Sam were in the room next door? I yelled so loud. Why couldn't Mommy hear me? Daddy, are we going to die? Those words played over and over like invisible threads weaving a cage around me. A nightmare I couldn't escape. My brother was in the emergency room. My multiple burns had become severely infected from being outside for so long. My mind was delirious, unable to distinguish between dreams and reality. I vaguely remember someone holding my hand, saying over and over, "Ethan, don't sleep." By the time my condition stabilized and I was moved to a regular ward, 10 days had passed. Jessica sat by my bedside, dark circles under her eyes, her hair messy, looking disheveled and unlike herself. Seeing me awake, a flicker of joy crossed her face. "Ethan, you're finally awake." Seeing her brought back all the painful, desperate, suppressed emotions, threatening to burst my heart. Slap! Gritting my teeth, I sat up and slapped Jessica hard across the face. I never hit women, but she was an exception. I didn't know how she had the nerve to show her face in front of me again. Jessica's face instantly swelled, her eyes filled with bitterness. I didn't make it to Leo's funeral. That was wrong of me. Vat for resentment. You have to let it out. Don't keep it bottled up. It's not good for your health. Mark rushed forward, his face pale, and knelt before me, his eyes red. "I'm sorry, Ethan. That's why she missed Leo's funeral. It's all my fault." Mark grabbed my hand, trying to make me hit his face. He had pulled stunts like this countless times before, leaving me a loss, but this time, slap. I slapped Mark across the face. Still not satisfied, I slapped him again hard. Pathetic. Truly pathetic. How can someone be so pathetic? There are so many single women in the world. Why must you seduce someone else's wife? Does stealing another man's woman satisfy your sick need to be despicable? As I raised my hand for a third slap, Jessica grabbed my wrist, her face livid. "Enough. I told you Mark and I are just friends. He doesn't have a wife. A single father raising a child isn't easy. Do you have to think the worst?" I wrenched my hand free, having no desire to even argue with her, just pointing towards the door in disgust. "Get out, Ethan. How could you treat Jessica like this?" Mark tried to interject, playing the victim. I grabbed whatever was within reach and hurled it at him and Jessica. "Get out, both of you. Get out." Jessica looked at me with a complex expression, but quickly turned to shield Mark protectively as they left. Seeing this used to break my heart, but now I was numb. I came from a prominent family, while Jessica was a firefighter from an ordinary background. We shouldn't have crossed paths. That time, a friend was heartbroken, and we went drinking. Zaba. At my most desperate moment, Jessica found me and risked her life to get me out. She was beautiful, and she saved my life. I fell madly in love with her. After confirming she was single, I pursued her for a long time before she agreed to date me and eventually proposed marriage. Just hearing Jessica's profession, you'd think she was a tough woman. But she was very gentle, always smiling at everyone, incredibly emotionally stable, even when faced with bizarre people or situations. At first glance, she seemed very approachable, but the longer you knew her, the harder it was to get close to her heart. After marriage, Jessica handled all the housework and had a good temper. Everyone said I married a wonderful wife. However, she was very polite to me, and intimacy often felt more like a duty. There seemed to be an invisible barrier between us. I thought she was like that with everyone until Mark divorced and returned from abroad. That day, I saw Jessica lose control for the first time. It was our wedding anniversary, but she took leave from work just to spend time with Mark, not even coming home that night. I later learned Mark was her ex-boyfriend. They started dating in middle school and were together for nearly 10 years. Their relationship was very strong. They were forced to break up because his parents disapproved. Jessica said she just felt sorry for Mark, a single father raising a child alone, and wanted to help him out, insisting she had never done anything to betray me. I believed her, and so I lost everything. I forgot that cheating isn't just physical. After Jessica left, she sent me many messages, each one a long essay. I didn't even want to look at them. I blocked her WeChat and phone number, then called my brother and told him to fire Mark. Previously, I didn't know he was Jessica's ex. I heard she had a friend who was divorced, raising a child alone, struggling, and happened to be in the media industry, so I proactively offered him a job at my family's company. Thinking back now, probably many people were laughing at me. The day after Mark was fired, Jessica came looking for me. She frowned. "You're angry at me. You act out against me. I can tolerate that, but just because I took care of Mark and his son a little more, you get jealous and have your brother fire him. You know he needs to earn money to support his son. Are you trying to push him to his death?" I stared at her coldly. "It's my family's company. I can fire whoever I want. If you're not happy, you can find your first love and a new job. And I'm not just firing him. Every penny you spent on him during our marriage, I'm getting back." Sadism. I did. And what was the result? He practically moved in with my wife into my bedroom. Jessica's face instantly darkened. "Ethan, let me emphasize again. I have never done anything to betray you. He's my ex-boyfriend, and now I only consider him a regular friend. Regular friend. Regular friend. Regular friend." I was so sick of that phrase and sick of her self-righteous attitude. I couldn't hold back my emotions any longer. A regular friend, more important than my life and Leo's life. Leo's funeral was 10 days ago. If you had even an ounce of concern for us, you would know that Leo died in room 1217, right next door to Mark's room. Leo screamed, "Mommy," at the top of his lungs, only to watch his mother violate firefighting rescue protocols, bypass our room, and save another man and his child. I wasn't asking you to favor Leo and me. It was clear. My Leo wouldn't have had to die. I roared at her hysterically, as if trying to expel all the pent-up resentment inside me. Jessica looked at me, the displeasure and irritation on her face fading, suddenly replaced by a desolate gray pallor. Her mouth opened in disbelief, but no sound came out, only her eyes instantly filled with pain and panicked fear. All of Jessica's emotional outbursts were always related to Mark and his son. This was the first time she showed so much emotion because of Leo and me, but this was no honor. It felt more like a naked mockery. Jessica looked at me, bewildered. "I'm sorry. I didn't know. I really didn't know you and Leo were there, too. I didn't do it on purpose." She reached out to grab me, stammering in her panic. I slapped her hand away forcefully. "I told you the hotel room number on WeChat more than once. You were too busy reminding Mark and his son what to bring to be careful. But you forgot Leo and I were even traveling, didn't you?" The color drained from Jessica's face. Trembling, she took out her phone and scrolled up through her messages. I always liked sharing bits of my life with her. Our chat history was mostly me talking. Her replies were occasional, usually just a huh or oh. The night before Leo died, he said he missed Mommy and wanted to video call her. But Jessica was on the phone with Mark's son, Sam. She said Sam didn't have a mother, was very sensitive, a poor child, and needed more of her time. So, she rejected her own son's 3 consecutive video call requests. Not wanting Leo to be sad, I offered to record a short video for him, saying Mommy would definitely watch it. Leo happily faced the camera, sharing the sites we'd visited, and then, full of hope, told her our address, hoping she could come join us if she had time. Jessica's hands trembled as she clicked play on the video. Her eyes widened, tears streamed down her face, and suppressed sobs escaped her throat. I had never seen her look so wretched. Seeing it now brought me no satisfaction, only a tight, uncomfortable feeling in my chest. What good was her regret or pain now? My Leo wasn't coming back. Jessica clutched her phone tightly, her voice trembling. "I failed, Leo. I caused his death. You had to. You deserve it. But you can't take it out on Mark and Sam. They did nothing wrong. You shouldn't." She picked up the water glass and smashed it on the floor. The fury inside almost consumed me. The glass shattered, leaving fragments in Jessica's face, leaving us in a line of blood. "You want to protect the public, Jessica? You need to see if you have the ability to get out. I couldn't bear to speak another word to her. Someone like her didn't deserve to be Leo's mother. The commotion in the room was loud. My brother and Chloe entered with medical staff and escorted Jessica out. I had just come out of the ICU, my body depleted, and the emotional roller coaster left me feeling dizzy. My brother had barely been to the office for over half a month, and work had piled up. He told me to rest well, leaving Chloe and the caregiver to look after me, then rushed off to the company. Chloe was my brother's friend, usually gentle and quiet, a seemingly sweet girl who ended up becoming a lawyer, stunning us all. I hired her as my lawyer for the divorce. Chloe sat in the chair by my bedside, blinking her big eyes. During our marriage, Jessica spent all her income on Mark and his son and also used $200,000 of my money. I want to recover all the funds she spent on the third party and divorce her. Additionally, Jessica violated fire department regulations, delaying Leo's rescue, which led to his death and my severe injuries. I want to report her to her superiors. I have limited mobility, so could you please arrange this for me, Chloe? Arguing with Jessica left me dizzy, but my mind was surprisingly clear. I didn't need the money, but I wanted to make both Jessica and Mark miserable, and I wanted all her colleagues to know the disgusting things she did, lest someone else lose their life due to her selfishness next time. Chloe readily agreed and started preparing the lawsuit for fund recovery and the report. That evening, Jessica arrived at the ward with a bandage on her face, carrying a thermal container. I've taken too much leave recently. Couldn't ask for more, so I'm a bit late. With your injuries, there's a lot you can't eat. I specifically made some light but nutritious dishes. Try some. Jessica acted nonchalantly, setting out the food and pouring soup. She had 10 days of annual leave per year. 9.5 were dedicated to Mark and his son, with the remaining half-day reserved for other potential emergencies. I glanced at the food. It looked quite good. The next second, I swept it all onto the floor, knocking over the soup along with it. I said distastefully, going through all this trouble to bring me one meal, trying to get me to drop the claim for the money you transferred to the third party. Jessica stared at the mess on the floor, her face turning livid. Ethan, can you please not phrase it so horribly? Mark and I are innocent. That money was just a loan. I really don't understand what Mark ever did to you that makes you target him like this. I had heard this line too many times before. I started coughing from anger. Jessica fell silent and came over to pat my back. Before Mark appeared, we were considered a model couple by others. Otherwise, Leo wouldn't have been born. I didn't know how things between us had devolved to this point. Jessica sighed, her voice softening. You're weak. Let's not fight. Okay. Your father, too. You should understand how difficult it is for Mark. He's already lost his job. If I demand the money back now, would that even be human? Try to see it from his perspective. I felt some things could never get through to her, and I didn't want to waste my breath anymore. I said impatiently, I have nothing more to say to you. Get out now. Jessica frowned. Just then, Mark called her, saying Sam couldn't sleep without her there. She instantly lost the mood to argue with me. Ethan, you're angry right now. We'll talk about whatever issues you have when you've calmed down. Every time I got angry about Mark, she wouldn't console me, only criticize me, telling me to digest those emotions myself. She probably thought this time would be like all the others, ending with the big issues becoming small and the small ones vanishing. But she didn't know. The moment Leo died, everything between us was irrevocably finished. I didn't want to stay in a hospital any longer, being disturbed by people like Jessica and Mark. That night, I checked out and went back to my family home. The next day, unable to reach me, Jessica asked a mutual friend to relay a message. Ethan, you just got out of danger from severe infection. Why aren't you in the hospital? Jessica is very worried about you. I scoffed. Ask your Jessica why if she's so worried about me. She argued with me the day I got out of the ICU to defend her ex-boyfriend. Ask her if she's so worried about me, why she spent less than 10 minutes in my hospital room before rushing off to Mark's place. I slammed down the phone and tagged Jessica and Mark in our group chat. Stop asking me to play along with your charade. Isn't it disgusting? Do you two really think everyone is blind? Jessica, if you actually had the guts to admit you just like your ex-boyfriend, I wouldn't be so disgusted by you. Instead of being a hypocrite, clearly favoring him while denying it and blaming Leo and me. And Mark, everyone, keep a close eye on your spouses, lest you end up in the same situation as me. One day, the group chat went silent. Everyone was probably gossiping like crazy in private messages. Jessica texted me from a new number. You hate me. You can retaliate however you want. I accept it, but can you please stop targeting Mark and his son? How many times do I have to tell you they are innocent? Anyone could claim innocence, but beneficiaries like them didn't deserve to. Before, I didn't talk about their sordid affairs because I value my dignity. Now that Leo was gone, I wish Jessica and Mark would just die. I called her back, my voice cold. Don't worry, Jessica. You're included, too. Neither of you will escape. Do you really have to do this? Yes. You become so aggressive. I barely recognize you anymore, Ethan. Funny, Jessica. If I had known she was this clueless, I wouldn't have married her. Then my child wouldn't have been constantly scolded for not being as well-behaved as Sam. Wouldn't have become insecure and sensitive, and certainly wouldn't have died in agony after his hopes were shattered. Chloe worked fast,